learning English subject with Pratibha Patil. Today we are going to learn very interesting and new topic in English, that is poem number 3.4, The Brook, which is written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So let's know more about the poet. Alfred Lord Tennyson was born on 6th August 1809 and died on 6th October 1892. He was the poet laureate of Great Britain and Ireland during much of Queen Victoria's reign and remains one of the most popular British poets. Tennyson, also known for short lyrics such as Break, Break, Break and The Charge of Light Brigades. Much of his poetry was based on classical mythological themes. The brook means rivulet, or we can say a small stream or a small river. In the present poem, poet describes the journey of the brook from mountains to when it reaches finally to the river. Tennyson makes almost the brook seems to alive. He also compares the journey of the brook to the human being's life. Like the human life, the journey of the brook is full of up and downs, misery and happiness. Here, brook itself tells the story of its life. Before proceed the poem, let's know about the new words from the poem. New words: haunts, places frequently visited. Beaker, to flow down with a lot of noise. Brimming, be full to the point of overflowing. Hazel, a small tree or bush with eatable nuts. Next, skimming, move quickly. Murmur, a low continuous background noise. Linger, walk slowly. Loiter, to wander aimlessly. Throb, small villages. Coot and hern are the type of water bird. Next, chatter, talk informally about unimportant matters. Lusty, trout and gaying means a big freshwater fish. Forget-me-nots, a type of flower. Brambly means thorny. Wilderness means deserted places with small plant. Fallow means barren land. Now let's begin the poem. Here first stanza. I come from haunts of coot and hern. I make a sudden sally and sparkle out among the fern to beaker down a valley. By thirsty hills I hurry down, or sips between the ridges. By 20 tops a little town and half 100 beaches, till last by Philip's Palm I flow to join the brimming river. For men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Here, in the beginning of the poem, it is said by the poet that the brook narrates its own journey, which begins from the hilly areas and often visited by the coot and herns. It then makes a sudden swift movement to emerge among ferns in a valley, its water sparkling in the sunlight. When the brook moves, it creates a lot of noise. It flows through numerous hills, seeping through the long narrow hill ranges, through many villages, a little town, and several bridges, till at the last it merged with the river near Philip's farm. The brook is ever flowing and eternal, unlike man whose life on earth is transient. This is the main theme of the poem. Second stanza. I chatter over stony ways in little sharp trebles. I babble into idling's bays. I babble on the pebbles. With many a curve my bank I freight, by many a field and follow, and many a fairy foreland set, with willow weed mallow. I chatter as I flow, to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Here, poet describes that the brook flows over stony paths, creating chattering sounds. Sharp, high-pitched sounds are produced when the brook clashes against its banks. It forms bubbles when it falls from a height. In a spiral movement, it creates soft, pleasing sounds when it moves over the pebbles. The brook moves on, taking numerous bends through many fields and uncultivated lands. The poet describes the land before the brook merges with the river as a fairy land having plants like willow, weeds and mallow. Here, the next stanza. I wind about and in and out, with here a blossom selling, and here and there a lusty trout, and here and there a grayling, and here and there a flummy play upon me as I travel, with many a silvery water break above the golden gravel, and draw them all along and flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Here, poet tells us that the brooks have its own way, lots of up and downs. It twists and winds about on its way as it continues its journey to join the brimming river and along with it. But the brook carries with that fishes, foam and flowers. Here, the last stanza. I sip, I sight, I gloom, I glance. Among my scheming swallows, I make the naked sunbeam dance against my sandy shallows. I murmur under moon and stars in brambly wildernesses. I linger by my shiny bars, I loiter runs my creases. And out again I curve and flow to join the brimming river, for men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Here, poet tells us that the brook makes various movements on its way, with swallows skim the surface of its water for flood. The waves seem to create a net-like images on which the sunshine sparkles, and it's giving an impression of the sunbeam dancing. At night, under the moon and the stars, the brook continues to flow over masses of pebbles, making a murmuring sound. It often becomes slow and seems to linger because of the stones on the way. However, it continues to curves out and moves on. Here, in this poem, different poetic devices are used. First one, repetition. It is a figure of speech in which a certain word or phrase is repeated for poetic effect. Example from the poem. I chatter chatter as I flow. I chatter, chatter as I flow. Next, alliteration. It is a figure of speech in which the same consonant sound are repeated. Example, by 20 thorps a little town. By 20 thorps a little town. Next, antithesis. It is a figure of speech in which contrasting ideas or words are put together to produce an effect. For example, for men may come and men may go. For men may come and men may go. Next, onomatopoeia. It is a figure of speech consisting of the use of words which resemble in sound the object or idea expressed. For example, I chatter, chatter as I flow. I chatter, chatter as I flow. Next figure of speech, personification. It is a figure of speech in which inanimate object and abstract ideas are spoken of as having life and intelligence. For example, I come from haunts of Kut and Hun. I come from haunts of Kut and Hun. Like that, different poetic devices are used in this poem. In this way, through this poem, poet want to convey the message that how the brook, in spite of all the obstacles, continue with its journey. In the same way, we also have to face various problems and we have to overcome on it and move on. I hope you understood the poem. Thank you.